Hello everybody, this is Simon Clark from Trade with Precision, discussing some of my key markets of interest this week. Now the first market I want to take a look at today is dollar CAD. Now we've recently had the Governor of the Bank of Canada discussing the Canadian economy and actually mentioning that there would be some kind of monetary stimulus required in order to be able to push the Canadian economy along. Now having said that, with the low pricing oil that we're having at the moment, and after that recent decline in oil prices, we can expect really this to weigh on the Canadian dollar as well. And sort of fundamentally, that means that we're looking for more of a sort of a short term to medium term sort of bearish sentiment on the Canadian dollar. So let's come and take a look at the market here from a technical perspective and see how that sort of filters in here and what sort of opportunities we can see. First of all, here on the monthly chart, we can see that the market's been in a very, very nice strong uptrend. We've had a nice big move up here, and all we've got here is a nice sort of pullback in the market, and you'll see that there's a couple of levels here where the market's just actually sort of pulled back into the zone and now is sort of compressing up against that zone and starting to look really quite bullish. If we come and take a look at the same levels here on the weekly chart, and I just want to open these up again, from a technical perspective, things looking extremely nice here from a technical perspective on the weekly chart. Markets come back into this lower level, tested this. We've now got this sort of higher level up here. It's around 1.3200, let's sort of call it, where we've had previous support and resistance many times before, and sort of since the low we've now had consistent higher lows as the price is now sort of compressing up against this a higher level. Now the price action is demonstrating strength at the moment because we've also got convergence with the indicators. So using this technique, we can still see that there is strong momentum in the market pushing price up higher. So from the technical perspective here on the weekly chart, things are looking extremely bullish. If we come and take a look at the daily chart though, on the daily chart we can start to see a little bit more detail of this sideways consolidation. We can see that the market's tested this sort of higher level that I've got marked in here a number of times, and it's just sort of hit that level now and it started to roll over again. So if we think about the sort of fundamentals, think about the sort of price of oil, which is sort of very key to the Canadian dollar, we can see this is having a bit of an impact on the market gaining enough strength to break through this level to the long side. So on a short-term basis, I wouldn't be at all surprised if we get a bit of a pullback here in the markets, but then again a pullback into the moving averages to build up some momentum in order to be able to break through this level is certainly something that I'm keeping a very close eye on. My longer term sort of preference here, my longer term preference is to be bullish on this market, especially if we get a break through this level. So I'm looking for a consolidation up here. I'm looking for a higher compression and then a breakthrough. On the daily chart at the moment, as I say, that's looking sort of very possible at this moment in time, and again it's supported by the price action here on the weekly and monthly charts too. The reason I like this long is if we can get a break through this level, look at the sort of price structure. Where is the where are the sort of target levels that we could be setting? At least we could be looking for move up towards sort of 1.4 thousand, maybe even higher. There's pretty much sort of clear skies. So it's a lovely chart to trade. At this moment in time it's looking bullish, and if we can keep an eye on this level, keep an eye on how the market trades around there, and I'm looking for a break to the bullish side on that later. Okay, let's take a look at the next market I want to take a look at today, which is cable. Now let's take a look at Great British Pound against the dollar. Now, cable has had a big sell-off over the past few months, and most of this actually is all to do with the Brexit vote and the subsequent sort of unknowns as to what the process is, in fact, when the process is going to start of decoupling the UK from the European Union. So at this moment in time, we've had pressure on the pound, even though we've had quite surprising and supporting economic data continuing to come out of the UK. Now, taking a look at this from a technicals perspective, things just look, incredibly bearish here for the Great British Pound. If we take a look at this from a higher time frame perspective and just sort of zoom out, we can get some sort of indication as to the pressure here on Great British Pound. It's certainly breaking down to certainly sort of more recent lows in the market, and at this form on these higher time frames, we've got some nice forming downtrends in play. Come and take a look at the weekly chart. We can start to get a bit of perspective of structure here in the market as well. So we've got the sort of big move here back in June, which was from the Brexit vote. Sort of since then, the market sort of continued to more or less sort of tread sideways over a period of time. We've tried to break to the long side, but failed to do that. So from a weekly perspective, the market is looking very sideways, but interestingly, it's now just coming back into the moving averages. So we've got this sort of triangular sort of formation forming here, which is going to draw a lot of traders' attention. We've got a level of sort of support that the market's sort of putting in, whilst we've also got here a formation down here on the lows as well. So just forming with the highs, I should say, with the moving averages. So the market's now consolidated into the moving averages and coming up against a flat level as well. Now the question is, what's going to happen here with Great British Pound against the US dollar? Is the market going to sort of break the lows here and continue to the downside? It's always very possible, of course. It is in a downtrend, or are we going to continue to get sort of more sideways consolidation? So I'm just going to come down to the daily chart here just to start to see a bit more detail of what we can see. Now we can see that since the market sort of tested 128,000 the first time, we've had sort of continuous sort of bullish momentum in the market forming here. So there's been sort of bullish activity forming here, bullish pressure, but then since that, since the market's reached up to 134, now we've got a sort of intraday downtrend forming here with lower highs and lower lows, and now the indicators are starting to roll over again. So a retest down here towards the sort of level which is just above that 128,000 level is going to be a very sort of interesting reaction here with price. We're either going to get a bounce off this level and a retest towards the highs of this consolidation, or we're going to get a break of it. Looking at the strength of momentum here and looking at the fundamental perspective as well, there's not short of bullish news coming out of the UK from a fundamental perspective. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if the market sort of finds support here and continues in this range for a period of time, certainly until we get some sort of clear indication on the process and timing of the Brexit vote, or sorry, Brexit process to leave the EU. So there's a couple of markets that I'm keeping a close eye on here over the next sort of couple of weeks. Certainly hope it helps, and look forward to speaking to you next time. Bye for now.